Okay, is everyone ready to go? Okay, well, first, everyone bow their heads. Okay. Dear Lord, Jesus Christ, the only Son of God who died on the cross.
Come on, folks, let's get in a circle real quick.
Let's have a good show. And save those sinners. All right. Jesus on
All right,
three,
Jesus.
everyone. 1, 2, 3. Jesus. All right,
Jesus.
let's go.
Jesus.
In the first aeon, I was the Great Spirit. In the second aeon, men knew me as the Horned God, Pangenitor, Panphage. In the third aeon, I was the Dark One, the Devil. In the fourth aeon, men knew me not, for I am the Hidden One. In the fifth aeon, I appeared before you as Baphomet, the God before all gods who shall endure to the end of the earth. In this new aeon, I appear to you as CMN.
Imagine that there is a brilliant white light just above.
Is commentary on the magic art.
In the years of the primal force and the dawn of terrestrial birth.
Oh, that was very educational.
Now magic will take place. Don't be fooled by what I just said.
Arrgh, everyone. I be Swinglow Magellan Kennedy, and this is Chaos Magic News, the fiercest podcast crew on the 7 seas. Joining me is first mate extraordinaire, Crow's Nest host. Crow's Nest host, how be ya? Please tell me you're not going to do this pirate voice through the entire show. I might. Well, shiver me timbers. And joining us is our navigator, Garry, behind the port window. Garry, how are ya?
Me got the clap, me boy. We've got lots to do and things to see. May the eyes be weary, but the heart be strong.
And also joining us, we have a wonderful special guest this episode. We have Captain Mavis herself, Mariana Pinzon. Mariana, how are you?
Attention.
Good evening for me. This is on the Berlin shores on the other side of the big pond, tuning in from the city of cows, Master Babylon, Berlin.
Beautiful. I mean, yes, Captain.
She does the voice so much better than I do. It's not fair. Oh, God. Well, for anybody who's been a long-time listener, I interviewed Mariana, maybe sometime last year. I think one of the best conversations I've ever done for the show. Fantastic time. We both seem to love Robert Anton Wilson, and we also like psychedelics, so we just had a lot to talk about. But Captain Mavis has got a new project that she's starting. She wanted to talk about it. I don't think we had a time to really do like a full interview, but I was like, well, how about you just come on the show and be a goofball with us, and we'll have our opening discussion. You can talk about what you're working on, and maybe we can explain why we're all doing the pirate voice. Oh yeah, I just realized no one else. They thought we were doing a pirate thing apparently. Okay, I guess this is the pirate episode.
I'm still a little unsure on why we're doing the pirate thing, but I'm into it.
Well, Mariana, would you like to explain to Garry what the project is and why we're talking like pirates?
Oh, because it's always fun to talk like pirates, my mateys.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Fair.
That's the best yes and I've ever heard. She said also because it's fun, so fuck you.
Well, the whole point of the project I'm offering is playful liberation of consciousness work. So fun is the main goal to be had.
I love it. That's so good.
The rest is beneficial side effects, I would say.
So the plan is have fun and the rest will come.
Something like that.
That's awesome.
This project, as it were, it's like, what is this invitation you're bringing people to? What's the MO for this sort of playful liberation?
So I am inviting to a 12-week treasure hunt. across the 8 seas of chaos along the 8th circuit of the brain map. It is a adventure of self-exploration framed in a structure of chaos monastics. So it's an ORMEC. It's the Octomancy Research Monastic Expedition Crew.
I'm sorry. I'm always a sucker for a good acronym, so I'm already on board with this.
That is pretty dope. Yeah.
Okay, and well, maybe a little bit of background for anybody. Because if anyone here listening isn't familiar with the 8 circuits of consciousness, as
just stop listening. Go read Prometheus Rising. Come back.
Yeah,
as easy as that. Yeah.
We'll wait.
Well,
hang on. Okay, hey, welcome back. What'd you think of the book? You like it? Pretty good, right?
Now you'll know what we're talking about. In our previous interview, Mariana had talked about how she had mapped the 8 circuits to 8 different types of magic, and it had this color scheme to it. I thought it was really dope. And now you've gone a step further, and you've created, because if you look on Mavis's social media, you'll see this huge map drawn out that is literally the 8 circuits mapped out in this big, what's the word, nautical map, I guess. It's showing the different oceans and continents and stuff like that. So you're taking that, you're extending this metaphor from 8 circuits from 8 facets of magic to like 8 different lands and oceans and stuff like that, and saying, how can we continue this metaphor as a pirate expedition, essentially?
Yeah. Well, I'm just generally kind of, I would think, embracing more the storytelling part of magic.
Yeah.
And I would say that my main quest right now is like game world builder, something like that. And this pirate quest, like it's a metamorphosis of the programs I've been running for the past 3 years to explore the 8 circuit brain model. But the more I run the quest itself and the more like I combine it with the magical work, of course, the more world is landing through me as well. And this is the newest expression of it, that I have started like creating this cartography maps, like actual maps. For
Okay, in a weird way, right? It's LARP, but it's good LARP, you know?
Well, no, because I was gonna say, because I remember your guys' interview. Didn't the original Mavis title come from a like an involved role playing kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You were the chaos goddess. It became
not
came
the chaos
back.
goddess, a priestess of chaos. In that world.
Okay.
And the chaos goddess in that world was named Fractala.
Ooh, that's a good name.
Fractala.
That's a sick. I'm stealing that for D&D later.
So there's that experience, and then saying, all right, well, how are you able to use narrative and storytelling in ways that can get you where you want to go as far as consciousness and the way that your brain operates with the rest of the world?
Exactly. So in some weird way, we are, I like to call it like homo narrandus, right? Storytelling creatures.
Yeah, my girl. Okay. I'm all on board with this idea. Sorry, go ahead.
So the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves and the world do have like a lot of impact in our meaning making and thus in such as well in our general perception of reality and the way we experience the world. So as magicians, we have I would say like the capacity maybe to play more consciously with the stories we tell, knowing well the power of words and how they compel realities as well, and the power they have to evoke imagination, which is one of the like main sources to tap into magic from, right?
Oh, I mean, I totally agree with that as someone who, I mean, we've been talking about Birdio for the past couple episodes, but also we talked about William Blake a lot. There's, to me at least, there's a strong connection with the notions of imagination and magic. It's the image making quality of the human. And then the other thing too about as far as narratives, even people who think, and in fact, sometimes the people that think they're very firmly rooted in what's right here, right now, they're still living out a narrative. We're always living out a narrative.
Well, Lacan said the self is a fiction created by language. I always really like that one because it gives the implication that not only do we develop our own ego and our own sense of individuality based on fiction, and not fiction in the sense of fiction as opposed to reality, but fiction in that essentially, we create models through narrative is what we do. I think Ernest Younger was the one who said something to the effect of the symbols represent and myth represent a timeless reality. And I think from a chaos magic perspective, what's being implied there's a certain type of symbolic relation we have to the world that we're always either reinventing or rediscovering. And I think whether it's the grand narrative of I'm a priestess of chaos or I'm an idiot and I'm bad at my job and no one likes me, those narratives are things that will shape your world.
What's cool is that I can do both of those narratives in the same day.
Well, you shouldn't.
One's not healthy, but...
Mariana, I wanted to ask, what specifically about pirates drew you in?
I think it evolved a little bit. One of the first journeys I ran on this, it was called back then just the Balanced Psychonautics Quest.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a one guy on board who came on through really a fucking synchronicity, because the person that was assisting me in marketing was riding a bus in Spain, and they were sitting reading the Antero Ali book I gave them, and then this other person was like, okay, this book looks very interesting. And they started a conversation, and then it turned out that he just has previously received a message that said, you need to learn to surf chaos. And she was like, oh, I'm working for this person that has a project that's called chaos surfing. It's like, all right, so I need to talk to her. And so he onboarded on my crew, the first Balanced Psychonautic Quest, and he had this whole consciousness pirate vibe about him in a way. He used to have a theater in Barcelona, an aeronautic. No, it's this dream theater, aeronautic.
Dream theater?
Yeah.
Man, I'm just gonna put a heavy guitar solo in here.
You're big. Never mind. Stop. No, go on.
Continue.
So he was all on board with this pirate metaphor, and it just evolved a little bit out of that. But there's also a background Discordian cabal story that kind of spawned into this work as well. We had a 4-pirate cabal called Irisian Chaos Ninja Pirates, so pirates and ninjas.
Oh,
and
double class. All right.
But we parted in Discord, so we're not together anymore.
Oh. Well, that's what happens with pirate crews. They eventually dissolve. It's just the nature of the beast.
Once you're in a pirate crew, you're always in a pirate crew. That's how this works. And it's fine if you don't see each other for a long time, but the next time you see each other, you're going to be super strong and buff, and you're going to be able to take on the 4 emperors.
Oh my.
We're currently negotiating some parlay, but it might come to that or not. We'll see.
I love bureaucracy in a pirate gang.
Look. All right, Eris, one of the 5 things that Eris is goddess of is bureaucracy. That's part of it, okay? You got to accept that.
Red tape, red army. It's what it is.
I think that the pirate myth itself is one of the last bastions of the sort of anarchist dream that a lot of Discordianism was really rooted in. And it's one of the only things in our pop culture that still carries that sort of edge to it. I mean, short of Pirates of the Caribbean, which is just whatever, I'm not going to talk about that movie. Every other pirate media sort of thing is, at least you can get behind it in the sense of that it still seems to carry that sort of liberatory freedom. Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of this, consciousness pirates in the sense I don't give a damn about the rules of consensus reality. I'm just going to do my own.
Can I go to bat for Pirates of the Caribbean for just a second?
No.
No, because if you're
you're defending the rat.
No.
You're defending the mouse. Fuck the mouse.
Oh, because it's Disney.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Depp's not that bad.
Look. Jack Sparrow is what? He's literally like a walking Discordian agent. I mean, he's very self-serving and kind of a dick, but like he's chaos. He's kamikazes on legs. And then the entire he's going through the whole thing where he's failing upwards. Even when things are going wrong, he finds ways to roll with it and flip. He's a great archetype. If you want to say like chaos pirate, my brain is already conjuring up Jack Sparrow. And then when you look in the movies, the pirates have their own society with their own rule. Now, granted, it isn't like pure anarchy, but they at least have their own society that functions completely outside of the powers that be.
No, my friend, that is pure anarchy. That's exactly what we want.
And what I really liked about like the pirate paradigm is that they were the first ones to install some sense of like democracy and also commonwealth, like healthcare, right? So there was like sort of a treasure fund. So if you would lose a limb or something on a mission,
they had money set aside
from the treasure fund. So they took care of the people that like were fallen in battle, and there was a sense of like there were some democratic rules as well. Of course, the captain was only like primus inter pares, and of course, if there was a battle or you're in the midst of battle, the captain rules. But other than that, the crew can vote the captain out again.
Yeah, the organization of piracy is very interesting to me, actually, with that in mind. Like you said, it's very democratic. The utility of how the disbursement of treasure was handled was the reason piracy was excelling the way it was during that time, I believe.
You notice that the same worldview that dominates now, the scientific kind of Cartesian worldview, rises at the same time as like piracy and world exploration. So isn't it fascinating that in a time that, and again, what we would view now as the dominating like reality narrative, the consensus reality, the minute that starts rising, there's already groups of people that are trying to get outside of it from almost every possible perspective. And piracy was like the best one, because then you get to not only drop out of society entirely, but you get to go to a place where you're among equals and people that are trying to have build a what's the term that anarchists love?
A coup? No, I don't know. I guess technically from the Queen.
No, it was what is it? God, your brain's not working.
An autonomous zone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we were looking for.
Temporary autonomous zones, and the quest would now to like how can we make more permanent autonomous zones happen as well, like pockets of reality outside of the system.
I think that's great.
That's a hard one. Shit. And I guess now, and this sometimes this sounds like a cop out, but I think a lot of the times with stuff like that, it's like it has to start internally. You have to have the autonomous zone in you before you can do anything out there. Yeah.
That's very Ammon Hennessy, right?
Yeah.
Ammon Hennessy, for anyone that doesn't know, was a Christian anarchist, but he wrote a book called The One Man Revolution. This is the kind of guy that like he didn't pay taxes because he knew it would go to war efforts. And, in order to do that, now he had to like, he like collected cans and shit, and he like funded worker houses and all sorts of shit completely outside of the regular market, the accepted market, because he knew that if he had a regular job and he had to pay income tax or anything like that, he would be funding the war effort.
Damn.
That's why I don't pay taxes.
You heard it here, folks. Don't pay your taxes. No,
I don't do any of that shit.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, IRS. I love you. Everything's fine.
I give my tribute to the German tax authorities.
Are they cooler than the IRS? Do they got a cooler acronym?
No, it's just Finanzamt.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's much better than IRS.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, now all I'm remembering is the Robert Anton Wilson movement. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was just the everyone stop paying taxes movement. It's like, if we all just stop doing it, they can't do it. What are they going to do? They're going to lock us all up?
The financial equivalent of they can't stop all of us.
Yep. We have there have been rent strikes before where there should be a tax strike.
I think we should do them all at once.
You heard it here, folks. Go to the Discord to join the revolution.
To circle back to the actual project at hand, Mavis, what can somebody if anything, what can they expect when they sign up with you? Like where does it? What's the first step? Where do they start?
Let me collect.
Just ask her, like, hey, Captain Mavis, what's the meaning of life and everything?
Well, let me find my business card. 1 second.
What they can expect is to embark on a quest to explore this 8-circuit brain map in a way that is very enriched by direct experience. So this quest is about like making this model come into life out from just like a grid and a theoretical model to more an experiential tool for navigating. And we're going to do that by week. We're going to move through one of the circuits. And since you already said I've correlated the Peter Carroll 8 colors of magics to each of the circuits. So I'm going to be like also conjuring that color of magic for this week. So it's like a bit of an experimenting with what kind of magics comes out of this specific archetype that I can use to reprogram or increase the intelligence of each of the circuits.
Like in a harmonious fashion, like you're saying, like everything kind of works off of each other, and while you move through the steps through the program, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So like this like 8-circuit model with twist and Tarot Alley brought into it, shocks and anchors situation that happens, right? We go into the higher states of consciousness, expansion of consciousness, and these experiences can sometimes deliver shocks or overamp our nervous system in a way that if the basis of our system, the lower 4 circuits, are not very well integrated, then we experience like psychological dysregulation or nervous system dysregulation. So I'm playing a bit around with this like Discordian philosophy within chaos, and the nervous system being like a complex, chaotic system in itself, right? That always is trying to gain some form of homeostasis. When you bring in a little bit on the upper circuit some disorder, it can be like creative in a sense, it can challenge the mind structures, the order that you have, like your egoic order that has come to pass as survival mechanisms. And then you can like break up a little bit, and expand and be creative. But if you overdo it on the side of disorder, it becomes destructive disorder and it becomes more dysregulated. The same thing on the order side, you can look at, there is an order of operating within your nervous system that is conductive and is supportive, and it helps you navigate through reality in a sense of coherence, grounding, and maybe like also centered in a sense of self and an identity to navigate in the social world. But sometimes this can be limiting configurations, and sometimes it can be creative configurations. This quest is about exploring one's internal configurations and seeing if we can make adjustments so that we can balance again between the order and disorder side, so we can like properly navigate through chaos.
I have a really bad metaphor, but I think you might get it. Or I have a really bad analogy, but I think you might get it in these terms. So kink, right?
Yeah.
Kink.
Which one?
The one in my neck because I slept wrong.
No.
Oh, that's so hot.
No. So there's a certain level of peak experience that you can have through that sort of facet, right?
Yeah.
But if I just did it to you out of nowhere, right, it would be dramatic as shit.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be able to have a responsible relationship to kink and the sort of experiences you can get from it, and the therapeutic elements of it, you have to actually be grounded in your own sense of identity, your own sense of agency, and so on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. No, absolutely. You have to be confident in what you're doing.
And you have to be grounded in the situation and so on and so forth. But, or even out of that, taking acid can be an incredibly powerful experience. But if I just give it to you in a cup and I'm a CIA agent,
Something's a little
you're
fishy
not
there.
prepared for that shit.
Yeah, you're not prepared for that shit. Now you're Charles Manson and you've started a cult.
Okay, I've got one more decent one that might work for this, because I finally read The Body Keeps the Score, right? And at one point, Have you read it? Anybody else read it? Just me?
I've heard lots about it. I've not read it yet.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Not
love it,
read
love
it, but heard some talks about it. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I don't agree with absolutely everything, but I'm not a doctor either. So like, I don't know how many holes I really can poke in here.
I can poke lots of holes in things, even though I'm not qualified.
Other than saying this doesn't conform with my direct experience in some cases. But one of the things it mentioned was that one of the early ideas in therapy with trauma patients was exposure therapy. If somebody had like a really bad traumatic experience with a dog, it's like, well, we'll just keep bringing them around dogs till they just stop being afraid of dogs. And that actually doesn't work.
No.
Especially it can, but mostly what it relies on is making the person feel like they can be safe around a dog. If you just keep throwing dogs at Merkel, she's going to keep being scared of them.
Oh, wow. We're making a Merkel joke.
Do you guys remember when
shit.
do you guys remember when that happened?
Yeah, I remember.
Is that friend of
no one
Pepper
else
Ann?
does?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, if you have somebody who's traumatized by a dog and you throw a dog at them, thinking like it's not like you just keep throwing enough Fidos at them and they're going to be fine. What you will probably do is re-traumatize them.
So yeah, this trauma is, I think, one of the aspects to think about or consider when like talking nervous system things, right? Because how like trauma in that sense is like an undigested and unintegrated shock, right? At some point, the nervous system got shocked in a way, and it was not able to process that shock, and for that it like stored it somewhere in the body or in the energetic and the emotional body.
Right.
And when we go into peak experiences, right? I mean, the technologies of catharsis and peak experiences have been around for ages, right? And this is what it does as well. You go into like ecstatic spaces, you start releasing stuff that is stuck somewhere in the body or somewhere in the emotional body, and it comes up. It comes up for you to look at it, it comes up for you to move through it. But you still need to have a safe container for that. You know, you need to have some sort of safety either in the space that's being held for that, or in your body already for that stuff to come up and be processed. And if you don't have the capacity to process and you're like being exposed to more shock, it's just gonna be re-traumatizing.
Yeah.
You know, to use the kink metaphor again, actually now, it's like, and that's when having another person can be incredibly helpful. Someone who has dealt with their own shocks and stuff like that, or understands the background of what's going on.
Have walked the path, so to speak.
Well, and then it turns into it's either because the person has proven themselves capable, or because you on a sometimes with kink, it's like, emotionally I'm okay with being vulnerable with this person, but having someone there who's able to help you process those experiences are useful. And that's where like spiritual gurus
I was
are
going to
supposed
say,
to do
this is
stuff.
This is the guru student dialectic, as it were.
But I also just described like dom sub stuff too.
Well, no, yeah, they're all the same thing.
It's all the same.
It's all the same. Everything is everything. This is Panama.
Victor
Yes,
Newberg,
teacher. Yes, master.
and
whatever.
Crowley in the desert.
I think in the king context, for example, it comes down to co-regulation, right? Am I able to regulate whatever is happening in my experience with this other person? And if if there's an attunement to that and co-regulation happens, it can be like a wholesome experience. But if there's no attunement and co-regulation doesn't happen, it can be a dysregulating experience.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can have that with yourself as well, obviously. Some of the most traumatic experiences in my life were dealing with other aspects of my own self, as it were. Guys, I got my internal bad dom in here, and it was bad times, man. He don't give a shit about no safe word, nothing.
You're like, I'm just trying to like pay rent today, buddy, and he's like, call me fucking master, and you're just like not having a good time.
Oh God.
I had a thought, and I've completely lost it now.
Because you were talking about
because I made the bad dom joke.
Yeah.
I had an actual insight, and then I ruined it by
goofy
making
stuff
jokes.
going on in your head.
That's the story of this show, ain't it?
Yeah, had a good
Yeah,
idea.
you little
and
pay
then-
piggy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay.
Hey, y'all. Kennedy with a correction here, and it's quite a journey, so let's get to it. I say this was an idea that William Gibson had. William Gibson is the writer of Neuromancer, which was the basis of Cyberpunk and the popular Johnny Mnemonic. Who I meant to say was J.J. Gibson, noted American psychologist. But the twist, I actually was thinking of Walter Freeman, American theoretical neuroscientist. So, just to follow this, not William Gibson, not J.J. Gibson, but Walter Freeman. All right, glad we had this talk.
William Gibson has this idea of chaotic attractors in the nervous system. And the way they work is these things that deregulate us, and our nervous system tries to get back to homeostasis. You have these big shocks to the nervous system. And when you're able to actually integrate them, again, being able to bring that, having the space held for it in your body, in your experience, and just not being completely overwhelmed by it. Once you get to that point, then in your nervous system, it sets up structures that when you receive this sort of stimuli again, it becomes intelligible in a way. This is how you expand your world, because when you have experiences like that, and now your nervous system has the ability to render it into an intelligible form, now this changes your entire goddamn world.
Exactly. You need to make coherence again, right? Like the psychedelic experience, for example, often, like at least like the first experiences might create a lot of incoherence in the sense of like you don't know what the fuck that just was, and if you don't have like a frame of reference or a narrative or a map to sort of like make sense of that experience, all that can feel daunting and dysregulating again. But if you have a framework of reference or a map or something that you can like actually like, okay, so this makes sense. Like, okay, I can sort of find a language to also integrate this experience, then the nervous system can get back into functioning homeostasis in a way.
You know, it's something we said on the show, I think a couple weeks ago. It was especially in chaos magic and in the kind of Robert Anton Wilson adjacent model agnostic areas, people are always bagging on, the make sure like, the map is not the territory. Like, yeah, but you need a map. You ever just been wandering in the desert with no clue where you're going to fucking die? It's like, you need to remember that the map isn't the territory, but you still need the map. Just like you need language to be able to express ideas. This is just the confines of what it takes to be a nervous system attempting to communicate with, I almost said other nervous systems, but I guess maybe the external world is what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah. Just, it doesn't even necessarily other people, just getting along in the universe as it is.
Well, Mariana, if people want to learn more about that, where can they go?
They can go to chaossurfing.rocks.
Bet.
Cowsurfing.rock.
Not right now, G.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Later.
Well, okay. Well, anyway.
She's right there. You can just ask her.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm a little guy looking to learn some stuff.
See, that's not a helpful narrative. You need to be like, I'm a big guy trying to learn some stuff.
I'm a big guy. I know it all.
I'm like 7 feet tall.
I'm like 6'4".
You could benefit from the raw recruits info she put on this one. If you guys haven't gone to any of Mariana's stuff, if you go to Chaos Surfing on Facebook, you can on her page, and it's, you'll know how to spell it. I'll put the damn link in there. You got these really cool little drawings for the various I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here, Mariana? What would you call these?
This is like my kind of like pirate archetypes, the different kind of edge dweller, metamodern mystics, neurospicy alchemists, chaotic edge dwellers, and different characters have been like playing around with, I think, like archetypes of the people that might be into chaos magic and resonant with this Discordian mission.
He has a little description for a lot of them, and the raw recruit one I like a lot. Gee, I think this might resonate. If the Discordian Pope within you seeks more than memes wars, social media trolling, and philosophical musings, if you're ready to roll up your sleeves, work the magic, and walk the talk, then our collective experimentation can serve you as your playful workshop ground to set up and join the new mission of the Elysian Liberation Front, or become a psychedelicious chonk.
Oh.
You know you want to be a psychedelicious chonk, G. Come on.
I think I'm like 75% there. I'm ready. Yeah.
I'm like 75% chunk.
What do I got to do? What do I got to do, Mavis?
You got to sign up.
Sign up.
Sign up.
All right. Do you take Buddy Bucks? Do you take Venmos? I'm gonna get on there, and I'm gonna have a. You all need to go. I'm not even joking. I'm serious. I want to go check this out. But truly, like, what's some like some footnote, not footnotes, but what's the abstract like overline? How do I get there?
You go to the invitation page that you find on my website, chaossurfing.rocks. There's a link to an onboarding call, so like we'll have a chat because I do want to get to know everybody that's going to join my crew. And I mean, it's still a magical vessel and a crew of 23. So I do want to check in with everybody that's coming on board, also to see if they can at least a bit hold their own.
Little test, little send them out to see what happens kind of thing.
Yeah, like check out the vibe, check out the chemistry, check out if like it's resonant with the rest of the crew that's coming on, and also I like to get a feel where the people are at in their journey, what they might be struggling with, and what they're also like hoping out to get from this journey. Like,
fantastic.
So I have a bit of more a sense of my crew, and I can support them better throughout the journey.
That's great. So it is, like you said, like an autonomous association. It's
for me right now, it's like the minimal viable version of my bigger vision, which is a chaos monastery.
Okay.
And so this is a virtual monastery of 12 weeks. And you can join the community, and we're going to practice chaos monastics, meaning that we're going to dedicate the expedition time to a more structured and committed phase of magical workings.
Right. Really put some power into it, kind of as a yeah. I hear you. That's cool.
Yeah. And by coming together and doing that as a group, right? Like not practicing chaos monastics just on yourself, but like as a group that's committed, that gives an oath before the crew. Each chaos monk will vow their own version of like, what is the work I'm committing to do in the next weeks? What's the structure of the work I'm committing to? And at the sense, it's like the crew acts as a witness to that and acts as a community of, you know, like when you join a monastery and everybody else is doing the work and everybody's committing to some rigor of work.
Right.
There's like
it's the benefit of group efforts where it's like you've done it and you've said, I'm going to commit to doing this, but you've done it in front of 22 other people. And then everybody else is doing it. You're like, well, I am not going to be the one guy that said, fuck it. I'm too busy. I'm gonna eat a hot pocket and watch Black Sails.
Well, that's the problem. That's what ruins like the Buddhist monasteries over in like Malaysia and stuff. Like one guy just starts like smoking meth, and then everyone else is like, "Well, shit."
That doesn't sound that bad. You need to just change the drug, and then you'll have a great time.
I don't want to be the only monk not smoking meth.
They're like, oh man, Roy's over there doing peyote buttons. I guess we're all going to do it now.
But the camaraderie associated with the pirate crew and how it operates with I really like and respect the kind of flow of it, because like you said, it's fun and foremost. So it could be anything almost, but the fact that it is pirate based, and I really dig that.
Yeah, I'm actually I really like it. It's gonna sound dumb, but it's just talking about it has given me Moby Dick flashbacks. I won't go off about Moby Dick because it's my favorite book, but the pirate crew aesthetic and the whaling crew aesthetic are very similar in my mind. Very similar vibes. I really dig it. I think it's cool. Anyone interested in that, we'll have links in the metadata, and don't worry, before the show's over, we will remind you of it again multiple times.
Hey, listener, if you don't forget, it's in the description, so don't fucking forget.
Hey, listener. It's in the description. Don't forget.
Co-host, jump in on this. Everyone's doing it.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to what you guys were just saying, but I think the smart thing would do is to take all of that information we put out and leave it in some kind of description of some kind.
Like maybe below wherever this gets posted or something.
Yeah, like so, like in the description of it. So I don't know if we're all on the same wavelength right now, but that's what I would do.
Mavis, what do you feel? You think we
Would
should
that
put
be
it in
a
the
good idea?
description?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, all
Put it in the
agreed.
description.
I-
A listener, just like, just put it in the description. You'll find it in the description. It's described in the description.
It's described descriptively below.
You
Yeah.
will find a description of it below in the description.
The description.
What are we doing? It's a show.
I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to hang out?
Awesome,
or what?
man. Oh god. Well, this was great, and because we have such a nice vibe going, we're not going to do a Banished with Laughter this episode.
Okay. That's
I think we said some very positive things, and we found a nice little thing in the occult community right here with Mariana that's actually positive and cool. I'm not going to bring it down by making fun of some crazy person.
all right. So we'll
Unless...
save
No, we'll do it next time.
Wait, what?
no, we'll save all our bile and hatred.
Yeah,
for...
we're being really positive. This is a great conversation. It's fun. We're not going to bring it down by talking about like some guy going like, check it out, Johnny Depp did the put his finger in a circle over his eye, and that's an Illuminati symbol. We don't need any of that today. We're nothing but good vibes. We're all Illuminatis here. That's what my vibe is right now. Okay.
Did you see that Elon Musk has a big scar on his forehead now, and that's equivalent to the Saturn rising? It's pretty sick.
Oh, I thought you were going right into the news bit, and then I realized, oh no, he's still doing the conspiracy thing. Okay, my bad.
It just wasn't very well populated, all right? It wasn't done well.
Wasn't it also Robert Anton Wilson that said there is a conspiracy and it's
you and your friends.
Yeah, it's
That's
all of us
awesome.
here right now.
All of us here right now. We are the Illuminati.
You never find the Illuminati until you're already a member.
Aw, dang it, I just got all Illuminati'd.
Legitimately, I don't mean to get all bent out of shape about Robert Anton Wilson here, but god damn it. When I first read that, I was oh, that's cute, whatever. And then it happened, and now I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate that dude was right.
Bob, what have you done to me?
All right, well, I guess with that, it's time to go on to the favorite segment of the show for everyone, all of our listeners.
If this isn't your favorite segment, it is. So don't even fight me. It's when we roll up our sleeves, we invoke the deep and ancient powers of journalistic excellence, and we ask ourselves,
What's the name of that kid?
shut up, you're ruining my moment.
My bad. I'm sorry. Please continue.
We ask, what's in the news?
He does this every time, Mariana.
Yeah, no, it's
that long, every time. I get it the first time. It's kind of funny.
He's just trying to regulate his nervous system.
Yeah, it's good. Look, you guys know that there's nothing quite as dysregulating as looking at the headlines from around the world.
Totally.
Seeing the utter shit show that we're in. So you need to prepare for it.
Yeah, when you're doing this level of magic, you got to stim up a little bit,
So genuinely, what are the latest headlines?
Because we have someone that's over in the fatherland, as it were, I figured we'd hit a couple headlines from there just to prove that we are, in fact, a international community here at CMN.
We talk about international news.
I mean, when we remember it. So cannabis is legal in Germany now, or it's being legalized in the process of it.
Mavis, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it, girl.
You finally
you did it for everybody. You alone did this.
No.
Of course so.
Mavis, actually, you worked on that for a long time, right?
I did.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel like it's about time, or is this a victory lap for you? You're like, man, thank God.
No, it doesn't feel like so much like victory lap. It's come on. It took them long enough.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ, this is how
Mariana feels the same way that we do about Mitch McConnell retiring, where it's like, yeah, that's great, but fuck you.
It should have happened. 50 years ago.
No, I mean we're gonna have a good 420 party for sure.
That's coming up.
The Germany, the parliament passed the law, but it still needs to be ratified, and there's still like some hiccup with it because it's a federal system, so the federal governments also need to ratify and something like that. So it might come into actuality on April 1st, and then we're gonna have like a fucking big 420 party.
And then they're gonna be like, "Psych,
In
ha!
Berlin.
April 1st. You thought we were just playing April Fools."
Arrest all these delinquents, and then they just like round. Yeah.
No,
Oh, cool.
Germans are very big on not rounding people up now.
Oh God, that's not what I. Oh God.
Sorry.
It's gonna be a really great weekend for Berlin. We're gonna have on the previous night. It's a Friday, the 19th, April 19th. We're gonna have like a bicycle day parade
Oh, that's awesome.
and a bicycle day Albert Hoffman honoring party from the Psychedelic Society.
Oh,
of Berlin.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And then the next day is gonna be like the 420 celebration and the whole legalize. Like there's so many legalizers in Berlin that have been like working their asses off for 20 years or something in this movement and trying to getting that. So if this law comes to pass on April 1st, then there's gonna be a big, huge fucking we did it party in Berlin.
I love that.
We
I love
going
that
to
you went right
Berlin,
from
boys.
bicycle
Let's
day.
go.
Yeah.
I'll get my plane tickets.
Yeah, I mean seriously, tell me I can't think of a better damn bicycle day than going to Berlin and then getting to wake up the next day to just the floodgates of cannabis. Literally walking out into the German streets and being carried away by buds.
It'll
be beautiful.
It'll be like
Yeah.
it's gonna be 2 days. It'll be the day that the Berlin Wall came down, and this year, 420 this year, days that will live in the history of Berlin.
Oh man. But still, that's really great. And the only thing I can suggest to anyone, and I know that no one in the psychedelic community of Berlin is looking at me for advice, but I would say everyone that worked on the marijuana legalization, just immediately take all that effort, all that infrastructure, and start applying it to, I don't know, psilocybin.
Yeah, some of them might, but you know, there are some stoners that are just like stoners and they love their weed and they're gonna stick with the weed and not go over to the others, but that's fine too.
Yeah.
That is the
There's not a whole
definition of
lateral
pulling up
progression.
the ladder after you guys. Come on, that is fucked up.
I thought we were a pirate crew, you fuckers.
Can you also legalize my medicines of choice?
I mean, it starts out great, but then by the end of it, it's like one guy going, "Come on, guys, let's just legalize adrenochrome, please." I'm telling you.
I've lived 300 years and I want another 100. Come on.
It's Prince Andrew.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Have you
God.
seen his hands?
Oh Jesus! All right.
I've not seen his hands.
In more Deutschland news, millions affected by German air and rail strikes. I didn't realize this was happening, but good for them. I'm pretty much always on board with people striking.
Oh, I misunderstood what you just said. Yeah, okay, so strikes.
Oh,
like
you thought they
leaving
were
the
getting like
business.
attacked, dude? No,
Yeah.
that'd be much bigger news.
And also the way you said it was so jovial. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Jesus, they're striking.
That would be.
No,
It's all because of the damn weed, isn't it?
it's always fun chaos when the railways are striking, yeah, especially in Berlin.
Oh, I love
Are
a
you
good
feeling?
strike.
Are you really feeling it right now? Is it?
Not so much because, to be honest, I'm most of a hermit these days, wintering and battling the winter viruses on my own.
Oh.
But the other day when I needed to go to a workshop, to give my workshop, I also host workshops in Berlin every once in a while, Chaos Magic workshops. I was not aware of the strike, and even getting an Uber got difficult to get there in time because the city was completely clogged up with cars. So yeah, like the strikes definitely are a major disturbance of the order of Berlin. And, not
So
that Berlin
official.
has really much order, but it's one of like the more anarchic cities still, I would say. And the railway system, they have like they have the best publishing campaign. They have like a marketing advertising campaign. I don't know who I heard the name of the company, but they are like so self-ironical and satirical about the incompetence of the public service transport in Berlin, and then appealing to the cows-loving Berliners to just be okay with it. So it's really great.
Bro, you should just yeah, we know it sucks, but how you going to get across town? It's fine. Yeah, we're come on, it's all right. It's going to be
Another
fine.
day.
You will get
And
there.
they make really good puns, like their marketing is just like, and we forgive them so much because their marketing is just like, it kind of like tickles or.
We were like that with
chaotic.
McDonald's here in the States for a bit. Now, not so much, but back in the day,
it's still kind of going. People see the anime McDonald's shit and they're like, I know you're a fucking evil corporation, but look, it's isekai.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. It's like you're hitting the buds. You're hitting the actual. They've transcended money so hardcore that they've able to find the niche.
I mean, if nothing else, the CMN model is very similar. Like we have said all sorts of things that we need to correct, but people still love us because we're fucking hilarious.
And totally modest.
We're very humble, we're very funny, and we've never been wrong about everything except all the things we've been wrong about.
And I'm like 6'7", and it's at least like 8. So
and this is my big booby girlfriend.
This is my
Chad. And you are the crying Wojak.
I just got a plate of cookies from my. Never mind. It's so
God.
dumb.
Okay, all right.
So, do we want to flip back to the States real quick, because I have another railway subway related story.
Is it New York?
Yep.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, the National Guard has been deployed to New York City subways to start doing bag searches in an attempt to cut down on the rampant crime that is going on in the New York subways. This just sounds like the cries of the police state. Like,
I mean,
people just bitching and moaning about the crimes in the city just as a justification to put a boot firmly on your neck.
Why do people fight for their?
They cry so loud for their chains.
Yeah,
but security, everybody, we had to have security.
I can't believe that even like it's fucking New York, man. Like, and the people are supporting this shit.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they are. I think the Republicans are crying about it they're moaning and saying, "Oh, look how bad the city is. So bad they have to deploy those, and it's all the Democrats' fault." Blah blah blah.
Well,
blah.
I mean,
here's the bigger issue, right? And this is the power of narratives. Basically, people spend so much time talking about like minor bumps in New York City crime rates because it makes it seem like the city is an absolute dystopian hellhole that's being run to the ground because the leftists and wokeness and whatever the hell, blah blah blah.
It's the same thing they do in LA where they complain about the homeless all the time.
The actual crime rates of the city do not match people's perceptions of it. And that's really scary because you've basically created a narrative that is now justifying putting National Guard. And thank God that just today they decided, okay, maybe the National Guard members shouldn't be carrying assault rifles down in the subway.
Oh,
they're
thank
still
God.
Don't worry, they're still going to be there, saying papers please, but they're not going to be pointing an AR at you.
Christ.
What's the international perspective on this? Could you imagine like trying to get on a train and then just like a dude with an assault rifle saying, "Hey, what's in the backpack?"
Yeah, how's the police enforcement associated over there? How are you doing?
Well, I have different fields about police. I was socialized in Mexico, and in Mexico, the general advice was like, be more distrustful of the cops than of the robbers.
No, you're on the same page with us, actually.
Oh yeah, we're in agreement.
Yeah, we're because we're saying that this is just police state psychopathy.
It's it's
AKBA, That's how they would say it in Mexico.
Don't say it like that.
More headlines from the States. Pentagon finds no evidence of alien technology from supposed crash site.
That's what they want you to think.
What about $30,000 trash cans? Did they find evidence about that?
What about the $6 trillion that went missing? Did they find any evidence of that? Or
do
we
they
not
find those things?
do we not trust the 5-sided castle on this one?
Jeez.
Sorry, guys. I just don't know where it went. There was a thing out there, and then it was gone.
What do we think overall? Because it's not just the states that've been doing this. It's I know I think wasn't it Mexico that did the big alien thing, and then I know other parts. Russia brought up some things about it. I don't know if much of Europe outside of Russia has, but what's the overall consensus on the back and forth on UFOs and aliens right now? Because I think like last year we were really into it. Everyone was talking about like, they're going to announce it any day now, but now we're kind of going back on it. Now we're kind of like, well, maybe there aren't UFOs.
It's one of those things that I think is in the zeitgeist forever, but also like people can't buy houses. So like
bigger problems.
The disingenuousness of it, like for one, the Pentagon being like, we don't know what you're talking about. We couldn't find anything. Like already like, whatever, you're bullshit and you lie and that's fake news. But also like, how am I going to pay rent this month? You know what I mean? Like there's so much underlaying. I don't think people give a shit too much. They should, because there's aliens among us, and they hate cops as much as we do.
Mavis, do you have any thoughts on UFOs? Do you believe in little green men coming around, or is it, well, maybe you're the wrong person to ask if you believe anything, but what do you think of the UFO phenomena in general?
Like, I would think more that if there was like alien intelligence already down on Earth, they would be kind of like incarnated, like maybe a little bit more in the starseeds paradigm of things, like if there's this like alien visitors already like exploring around and checking out the planet, then it's like, okay, maybe they do incarnate as well in like normal human bodies to check out what's up on this game world.
There's a lot of indigenous like lore to that. Yeah.
Guys, I think I'm an alien. That's what it's been this whole time. Of course. Well, that makes so much sense.
Interesting thought, because it's like if you wanted to understand a planet, you need to get into the shoes of of a native. Yeah, of like somebody who's there, because you've got a biology that is completely at odds with the planet. But so what you're saying though is that when somebody says like, I have found what appears to be a massive hubcap buried somewhere in the desert that looks like an alien crash site, you're not buying that. You're like, nah, that doesn't sound legit.
The one of the aliens shows up impersonating a human, goes, that's my hubcap, sorry. I have a Volkswagen Beetle that I need to go fix up. I don't know why this alien is this guy, but
not the voice for that.
No, yeah, you're right.
I think I'm more with Young and Raw on this one. I feel like most of the UFO encounters that people have reported are probably far more less material and more experiential, if that makes sense. Maybe that's the way of describing it.
Yeah, that would be my take too.
Deep in the brain.
If you're looking for metal ships in Cartesian space, you're not going to find the aliens. And that makes perfect sense, because everything we've seen about space travel seems to imply that it would be like so dauntingly impossible to just deal with it on the material plane, that a civilization would have to be so powerful and so far advanced that there would be no fucking way that we wouldn't be able to like see. You know what I mean? Like the idea that there's a species so powerful that it can create like the type of material and physical machinery and technology to travel through space to come see us, they would be like the Borg when they showed up here. Like they wouldn't be hiding. They'd be obliterating us if they felt like it. So obviously there's something far more.
Unless the idea is that they don't want to interfere with, or they want to interfere with us as little as possible.
Why would you do that? Let's just be honest. What species?
Because you want to see what we're gonna do.
No. What are you talking about? We know what we're gonna do. We've been doing the same things forever. We make a capitalism and then we die from no health care. That's what we do.
But now it's in space. Have any of you heard of the dark forest theory?
The dark forest theory is what you said?
Forest?
Yeah, forest.
I know what you're talking about.
Trees?
Yeah.
Well,
it's almost in that. It's almost in the Great Filter line too, where it's like
yes,
yeah, that there might be other civilizations, just we can never get to each other.
So the Fermi paradox is the question that poses which the dark forest answers. Yeah. So the Fermi paradox is this idea or the question
where if there's so much life in the universe, where is it?
Yes, exactly. There are billions of stars in the Milky Way similar to the sun, so some of these may have civilizations, and if so, there's no convincing evidence that this has ever happened. So why is that? You know?
Because you guys didn't read the Book of the Law or Prometheus Rising, and you're not on board with talking to discarnate intelligences.
Yeah.
Stupid.
You're not built right. You're built different, you know?
No, I mean, like, nuts on the table. That is entirely my rationale for why we have not found life on, out in space and stuff. It's because you fuckers are busy looking at your telescopes and you're not looking with your third eye.
That's a fair point. I mean, yeah,
Like
we're talking about existential.
The Dogon were already
things.
telling you about this, where he's like, yeah, they came from Sirius, and then you didn't believe them.
I am serious.
Like, they didn't make that. No, that can't be right. That was some honky mistaking what their mythology was.
How did the Dogon know there were two stars?
Yeah, the dark. Yep, the star's dark companion.
The dark forest thing answers this in a way that is basically, if there is sentience and evolved species or in space, they've advanced to the point that they know that there are entities and things out there that, if summoned, will destroy them. So the entirety of the universe, if evolved, is afraid of everything else.
So wait, it's like they think we're Cthulhu.
Like
Yeah.
Cosmic paranoia?
Pretty much, but
I love that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say that. It's effectively like species. If the answer to the Fermi paradox can possibly be this idea that there are species that are advanced enough to communicate with us, but they are willingly not because of the implication. Like, they found out the next section of the book, basically. Like, yeah, we can talk to you, but then the big AI in the universe sky is going to come down and like suck our dicks to death. You know?
No. They're stuck. What this is Dark Forest theory is postulating is that alien life exists and it's too caught up in Circuit 4. That's what it
actually,
is.
Yeah.
It's
That's a great way to say that. Yeah, it's super scared. It's and if we advance ourselves to that point as a species and get to the point where we can do interstellar travel, we might
will
follow
also
the same
shut up.
recourse. Yeah. We go, well, we can go travel to other galaxies, but there's
It's
like
scary.
a 99% chance that the space pirates will come and fuck us up.
Okay.
No, shut up. If they're space pirates, we are all joining, bro. What are you talking about?
But what that amounts
right.
to is that, like, I think the big thing here is, like, it's, we're making jokes about saying, yeah, the Pentagon is lying. Obviously, there were aliens there. But I think overall, it's like whatever is going on as far as the UFO phenomenon, I think most world governments probably don't have a fucking clue. Probably, like, besides a couple instances where they were like, oh, yeah, we knew that one. That was a Air Force base that we were testing something on, and we were using the alien thing as a smokescreen. I think overall they don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know if it's a threat. They don't know if they're genuine or not. They're just sort of like, they just keep giving us the celestial okey doke of, yeah, there's no aliens out there. It's fine. You don't worry about it.
And you're like, why did you wink when you said that? Don't worry about it. You're still winking. What are you doing?
It's always, I always like to ask, because aliens are always a big talking point for people when it comes to the fringe.
I just don't I don't get really wound up by the whole alien thing so much. Yeah, I like to think of it more as this, if there's contact with other sources of intelligence in the cosmos, there's cheaper tickets to go and have them.
Yeah.
Instead of like spending millions and millions on building some metal capsules.
To shoot and then slingshotting it into
space and then not find anything because we're just operating on Cartesian maps and everybody else is a non-Euclidean space.
Actually,
hey, I gotta tell you guys this just because it's the sync. I was pulling up Facebook trying to find something, and the very first thing that came up when I opened it is The Matrix. Understanding aspects of covert interaction with alien culture, technology, and planetary power structures by Vladimir Valerian.
I will bring this up because I wanted to. I was thinking maybe we could shoehorn this in somewhere during the conversation, but you'll notice that when Prometheus Rising got written, right, the space travel was still booming as like that was like the that was the next frontier, and we thought we were going to get to Mars in the next 5 years and stuff like that, and it didn't pan out. But you'll notice, particularly like in Circuit 5, he relates the concept of getting past the gravity well of planet Earth as almost a Fifth Circuit kind of thing, where he's describing that experience of free fall of being cut loose as part of that bodily rapture. And I thought that was interesting that we always find new metaphors for what's going on with us psychologically based on where technology is at the time. And even William Burroughs talked about, a lot of times he talked about the idea of stepping out of time and into space. And he would use the metaphor of space travel or shooting out from Earth into space, where you're no longer held in that same sort of heliocentric measured time.
That's where like the higher circuits as well go with Leary and Robert Anton Wilson, right? Like there was this idea when this model was developed and en vogue in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that there would be like the human evolution at some point would reach to that we transcend our tethering to the locality of our bodies, and that's what actually creates the possibility of interstellar travel.
That's true.
Yeah, SMILE, right?
Yeah.
Anyone confused? SMILE was a Leary thing. It stands for space migration, intelligence increase, and life extension. Just so people aren't thinking that I'm telling you to just smile.
But it's always good to smile too.
Smile's a Brian Wilson album, right? That's good. That's a good one.
That was pre or post getting hit really hard by his dad?
That was post
What?
getting hit really hard by his dad. Poor
Okay,
Brian
dope.
Wilson. His wife just died. Be nice to him.
What the fuck, man? Why?
It's the only thing I could think of Brian Wilson fast enough.
That's
I'm sorry.
the only thing you could think about with Brian Wilson.
I mean, he's like a all right musician.
What, you wanted him
I
to
guess.
sing Good Vibrations? What?
Maybe
Leave the
don't-
man alone.
Okay. What else we got in the headlines?
Brian Wilson
No,
murdered.
we're not-
No, just kidding.
No.
I don't want to talk about this, but I feel like we have to. Y'all seen the Trump shoes?
Oh, I've been wanting to talk about this.
I got a pair on my feet right now.
No, you don't. I know you ain't got money like that. That man
Yeah.
wanted like $360
What do you think I got the shoes with?
for.
Yeah, I didn't get mental aid. I went and got some dope ass shoes.
Like I feel bad continually talking about the man in a way, but I don't, because I'm always here for a good joke. You got to give it to the guy, because
No,
can you
no.
imagine any other like political figure like trying to sell you some kicks? It wouldn't work.
Okay, Mavis, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
No, not actually. I mean,
Okay. Well, I am
So
about-
there's this
the
orange
US
guy,
news.
right?
I
Orange
understand
guy.
that.
It's an agent of discord.
I understand. Okay, I understand that, you being not in America, you don't get caught up, especially in what is a very silly news story. But I am about to send you a photo, and we need your opinion here. All right, Donald
Discord?
Trump. Yeah, I'm about to send it on the Donald Trump, former president, current presidential candidate, real mover and shaker, a for good or ill, a agent of absolute disruption to the current political scheme in many ways, decided that what the American public really needed was a pair of Donald Trump branded sneakers, which he unveiled at a sneaker convention. And this is what they look like. I'm sending it to you now. And I believe they were going for something like $400, which
There's a lot. There's a lot for shoes.
not really.
It's a lot for shoes that look like that.
It's a lot for shoes made by a president as a grifting scheme.
Yeah, and he's not even selling them. Basically, because he's not actually allowed to operate businesses right now due to some legal hiccups. So
I wonder why.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I wonder what he did.
Okay, do you see him?
Yeah. The first thing that popped into my mind is actually like a Terry Pratchett character, the post office.
Man, Discworld's looking weird.
Oh
Just
man.
missing the wings.
Oh God, right?
man.
I was thinking they're very mercurial looking.
I am just.
I kind of love them. If they didn't have like the Trump T and shit on them and stuff, I might rock those.
No, those to me, those really look like somebody they got like a pair of cheap New Balances or something, and then just got a can of spray paint and just immediately went to town.
It for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look very not well made. I wonder who made them.
And the whole like stars and stripes kind of like doesn't work well with the gold.
No, it's
Oh.
And also, it's made by a guy trying to be a
he
stupid
argued
dictator.
hardcore with some shoe designer about that too. Like no, I want them solid gold because I make lots of money, and then I need the American flag on there. And he's like, it's gonna look like shit. He's like, I don't care.
Okay, just doing the conversion of as of right now, if they were $400, that's still 365.48 cents. Yeah, that's in euros, so it's 365 euros.
I don't think you can buy those with euros.
I
They like turn your money down. They're like, what was that? Is that a euro? Get the fuck out of here.
oh
You
my
want these
God.
freedom kicks with that fucking no.
We only accept George Washington bucks here. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just throwing this out
Only
there. is
dead
that-
presidents. Only dead presidents. We have bridges. We have bridges on our currency, you know? And
Really?
windows.
That's way cooler than ours. Ours
Oh,
have a
man,
guy
there's-
that just like
there-
killed Native Americans
there
and
might
scalped
be-
them.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there might be something perhaps spiritually or karmically fucked up about having dead mass murderers on your currency and just changing them around. I mean, maybe that's fucking us up. I mean, among other things in America, maybe that's fucking us
No,
up.
the
Money death cult, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
It's
You
called the
just
Oval
realized
Office.
this,
I just thought about
sir.
that.
I've been talking about Marx at you for years.
That's not what.
I'm pretty sure that's in Das Kapital. There's a distinct part where he talks about the magical power of putting dead people on your money and how it's bad for you. Marx was a wizard.
No, he just had the beard for one.
We should put like alive people on our money. Like
No, I think that's a bad idea too.
we should put like we need like Gary Newman on $1. That'd be good.
Is Gary Newman American?
Is Gary Newman alive still?
Oh,
You got a friend in me.
that's Randy Newman.
Yeah, there we go. That's how I'm talking about. We should put Randy Newman on $1.
Gary.
Oh, Gary.
Okay,
All right.
can we just stop in that thing of things getting weirder all the time? We have a former president with his own sneakers.
Yeah.
What is going on, guys?
I'm
What is going on?
Look, I'm just saying, let's just be thankful that it was like Trump or something and not like, I don't know, like Obama or
I feel-
Reagan.
I feel like he would have.
People that could have actually like made this normal, and then it's like every time you become
this is-
president, you release your signature sneaker afterwards.
But isn't
Insane.
this like an awesome deconstruction of the political establishment taken to its last absurdity? No, I think
Yeah,
you
it's
can do
really
better story.
fucking stupid.
particularly
Absolutely.
particularly with like cult of personality, you know, that notion of like looking at these politicians as like supermen and saying like, oh man, this is great. So what's the obvious conclusion? I have to wear the bright red hat that signifies that Trump is my guy, and then I get the bright gold sneakers with the T logo on them to show that Trump is my guy, and eventually I will also wear the armband. And you know,
Hold on now.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to be the guy that's crying like everyone I don't like is a fascist. But that's what crazy cult of personality stuff like this goes to.
But on the other side, it's also this kind of like, in a way, he's doing America a service
Mm-hmm.
because, shit, you guys need to stop taking yourself so seriously as word police.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a fair point in the respects that like this is about as American as it gets. As a president of the United States, pre-president is like running a merch line now to try to
It's
get
almost
out
that
of
notion of
money
like,
problems.
I don't know. I feel like in a lot of ways, America is simultaneously a laughingstock on the world stage, but also like a very large flaming demon of hell. You know, where it's like, yeah, it's really fun. We're really easy to make fun of, but we're also going around and causing a lot of pain and violence.
Well,
in the rest of the world.
it's entirely a relation you have to America, right? Because Europe laughs at us. And the Middle East thinks we're the devil.
And they're both right.
No, yeah, they're both entirely right, but that's the line. It's how much of a threat is America to you? If America's only a threat to you because it presents a cultural homogeny, then they suck and they have no culture and they're stupid and they're fat and they shoot guns off. If they represent an existential threat to you, say like if you're a Palestinian, then they're the devil.
Yeah.
That's the line.
We're sort of like a clown-faced devil.
And I think that's what the important thing about Donald Trump is that he represents the full breaking of that facade. Joe Biden does too, to an extent, but not in the same way. Joe Biden represents the breaking down of the facade in the way that like anyone who has half a brain can see that he is a very elderly man that is not holding it together and is just being propped along by whoever can keep him going. Whereas Donald Trump represents the, look, this is what you really wanted, right? You wanted a big, funny guy that can walk around with a big stick and act like a fucking badass.
But then he also like sets off the largest conventional explosive ever conceived by the American military and has like a press conference to talk about, now y'all don't understand that this bomb is the finest bomb. It is the biggest explosion. It has inflicted the most damage per square foot. You are going to be so sick of how much explosions we can cram into a single building. I'm Donald Trump, and I support this. Vote for me. Like that's
please buy my shoes.
Well, I need to send all three of you Chris Catrone's Why Not Trump. You guys would probably get a kick out of that. Very interesting little read.
Is that
did you say Chris Kattan has a document? Like, what did you say?
Is that from
No.
Is that from before he got elected the first time? Or
Chris Catrone wrote when Trump was running, he wrote Why Not Trump, and then when Trump was running the second time against Biden, he wrote Why Not Trump again.
Oh. So do you think he's going to do a third? Why not? He's going to do Why Not Trump 3?
No.
He's gonna go, I get why we picked Trump, unfortunately.
Listeners, if you want to check that out, I'll throw that in the link as well. It's an interesting little read. It's just, again, Chris Catrone is he's a Platypus Society guy. He's a very big left-wing Adorno, Frankfurt School type people. At any rate, the important thing to remember about the Donald Trump shoes is that if you buy a pair, you will probably be able to sell them for either a lot of money in like another year or no money and be put on a watch list. Both of those, I think, are net positives.
Okay, I would say that for anybody who wants to buy a pair of them, instead take your $5 and go to the CMN Patreon and then just send me a message and I will personally spray paint a pair of white New Balances for you. I'll even bite the cost of the shipping. Do we have any other? That feels like the goofiest headline we're gonna conjure up this week.
Yeah, that's the parrot headline. That's the dragon pilled headline this week.
Yep.
Trying to think if there's anything else major that we need to talk about.
I'm still mesmerized by these shoes. It's
You're at first you're like, this is so silly, and now you're like, I really want a pair.
No, it's more like a breaking of reality kind of.
Right.
I'm also a little bit on acid, so
this should not exist sort of feeling. Like this shouldn't be here. I should not be seeing this.
I saw behind the curtain. I did not like what I saw.
Does anyone
there's
have
a certain there's something happening that I can't take my gaze off from them, and it's like I'm still unsure how they make me feel.
I heard after every 300 orders, there's like one special version that has like a little tiny Trump like icon inside of the sole, and if you get those, then you're a real fucking idiot.
I got a little Trump icon in my soul.
Oh, you got to go to the doctor, dude.
Make a little icon in your soul. Okay. There's one more headline that I wish we had done this before the Trump sneakers because it's actually
because everyone else is tuned out.
Well, this was the funny haha, and this is actually very serious. Guys, has anyone heard about what's going on in Haiti right now?
Yeah, we've talked about it on the show before.
We talked about it on the show?
Yeah, we've been bringing back Haiti ever since the assassination.
No,
we just keep bringing it up.
I'm talking about the massive prison break.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
Okay, what is described as organized gangs, and I can't find anything that says if this is a legitimate political faction that is just being demonized as organized crime, or if it is simply organized crime is the means by which this is happening. These are just, criminals, thugs, whatever.
Look, I don't want to talk
say.
shit about Haiti or anything, but as far as my understanding of their political scene for the last 50 years at least, those aren't mutually exclusive at all.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is that if these are politically minded, I personally believe it has something to do with these groups are tired of the current Haitian establishment simply bowing to whatever the West wants them to do. But what happened is that they broke into two of the two largest prisons in the country and released over 4,000 inmates. They have destabilized the area. There's roving gangs, massive shootouts with the police stations in the capital city taken over, airports shut down and taken over. The PM was outside of the country at the time, which seems like that was a calculated move, but they are demanding that the current prime minister step down. And Biden has already said that America will not be sending troops or anything, so the jury's out on where it's going to go.
You know who the prime minister is, right? Ariel Henry, Ariel Henry, I'm not sure how you say it, but that's the guy that orchestrated the assassination of the last one.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
This could very well be, it's probably retaliation for that.
Well, you should probably retaliate against people that assassinate political leaders and then take over.
Yeah.
I can't say I can't on its face saying that murdering your political opposition and then taking over is always a bad thing, because I like the French Revolution. Seems pretty cool in my book, but I don't think that's what's happening in Haiti right now.
Yeah, I would say that there is an ongoing crisis, and as a world citizen, we should all be aware. I wanted to shine a light on that, and so I don't have anything funny to say about it. I don't have any deep insights. It's just it's intense, and it's crazy to think that as we move forward in this increasingly chaotic time, there are certain countries that one or two cities start going bad, and then you can completely upset an entire nation. Like that can't happen. I won't say that can't happen, but that doesn't happen in America in that way. Whole cities can be burning down, and then you're on the other side of the country just going, is my Hot Pocket done?
Where are my Trump shoes?
Yeah, where are my Trump
Amazon said they'd be here by
Amazon
now.
said that my Trump sneakers would be here. And then meanwhile, St. Louis is literally just collapsing, something like that. But this is a case of overnight. This started a few days ago, but the chaos ensued almost immediately. And I don't know where it's going to go from here, but it's a real somber affair. It's just like, Jesus Christ, all these because there's poor people that are just trying to live their lives, and then this happens.
Well, there are poor people trying to live their lives that were in the fucking prison too.
Yeah,
the weird problem I have right now is, as a prison abolitionist, I kind of sit here going, well, fuck. They busted a bunch of people out of jail. I kind of wish that we would do something like that here. And I know we got terrible people in prison that probably shouldn't be in society, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It just seems weird.
I made the comparison to Bastille Day when it happened, which I don't know if history will vindicate that comparison for me, but
hey, that's two French Revolution things we just said. That's really appropriate given what Haiti is.
Mm-hmm. But also, as proponents of Minnesota voodoo, we stand with our spiritual brothers in Haiti.
Yep.
Hopefully, people can do their best to stop the violence, and maybe people not have their lives completely destroyed by this. But war is hell,
Hey everybody, Future Kennedy here. In the time since this recording, Ariel Henry has agreed to step down as the leader of Haiti. This was after a meeting with the U.S. and Caribbean state leaders. He will officially step down once a transitional presidential council is formed. But 2 days after this announcement was made, various political party leaders in Haiti rejected it. So we don't know what's going on. Yeah, bad times.
Well, thanks for ending the news segment on a down note.
But aren't Trump sneakers really goofy, guys? They're bright gold, man. It's funny. It's funny.
I'm curious what you guys think is the likelihood that America will have again a agent of chaos and discord. Basically a Discordian president.
I think it's a toss-up right now. I think he has because I've already called it where it's saying like we all know that it's just going to be Trump and Biden again. I think that Trump's presidency actually relies on how much of his court appointees and the overall state legislatures of various red states and states that were on the line. It's going to involve how much voter suppression and sneaky, underhanded stuff are they going to be able to whip out? Because if they can do enough to shift a couple degrees, Trump will win. But Trump won't win because of popularity. Trump didn't win last time because of popularity. So I still think it's a toss-up, but also in the same way that Hillary Clinton was the only candidate that could have possibly lost to Trump during the first run, I think we're in another situation where Biden is possibly the worst. Biden is possibly the worst candidate that we could run, and we don't have anybody else as far as the Democrats are concerned.
He is the first incumbent to lose in 44 years. He lost a primary. Joe Biden, American president, lost a primary. That hasn't happened in 44 years. I think we're in trouble. I think Trump is going to win, hands down. I think it's not even going to be, it's going to be worse than when he won in 2016. I genuinely think that. I think he's going to be right back on top, and it's going to be a very interesting time right after it happens.
For all of our American listeners, I will once again say that the best thing you can do is, instead of listening to the Coke or Pepsi debates of who's going to be president, to simply decide right off the bat, I'm going to dedicate far more energy to looking at my local and state level elections and figuring out who I want in charge of my local areas rather than the big federal, because you're basically going to have Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden. And that's going to really, when you get to the polls that day, it's going to be an easy choice for you. You should be more concerned about who your senator and who your district House of Representative member is and stuff like that.
I say you should break out of society and create a temporary autonomous zone, preferably on a boat of some kind.
Well,
it does seem like the most logical course,
but if that's what you're going to do, then you don't need to care about the election anyway.
Well, no, correction, because I don't plan on doing that, and I also don't care about the election.
Fun times.
I think that about wraps it up. Does anyone else have any interesting news stories or anything weird that's happened in current events that they want to throw out, or are we good?
No, I think we're good unless you got something, because I think everyone understands where we're standing. We want Orange Man to be president. We think his sneakers are cool, and the aliens have incarnated as Donald Trump. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I got out of this news thing. Thank you for the bit.
In Donald Trump.
Every one of them. Go back to the.
There's many star seeds, but no one has. You've never seen a better star seed than inside of me. They're genius level star seeds.
Trump.
I've got the best star seeds you've ever seen in this country.
The Democrats are going to tell you that there aren't aliens and they're not sending messages via discarnate intelligences. Why is my Trump turning into JFK? I'm sorry.
Because he was an alien. That's why he had to
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Get out. Get out. No, we're done.
There are many aliens among us.
We're going on to the next segment. We're done. All right, how are we going to round this out?
Well, okay, so given the theme of Mariana's project, and given the wonderful jokes we've been making about pirates this whole time, it got me thinking, like, what kind of occult practices did pirates have? I didn't find anything good. That's the problem.
Oh,
it's like sailor fucking superstition shit. That's pretty much all I could find, which is disappointing.
Did you find any? What's like one good sailing superstition?
The fucking like red sky at morning shit.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, not like, tie in your knots a certain way. It's it's just the kind of stuff you'd seen. There's actually a lot of like you'd see a lot of like Caribbean kind of voodoo influenced magic too, which is
man,
interesting.
you see, that would be good because then we could talk about the voodoo stuff more. But.
No, but we've talked about voodoo. I don't have anything more to say about voodoo other than go to the Patreon, pay your $5, then I'll initiate you. The Minnesota voodoo spirits will come 3 to 5 business days. You heard the last episode. So what I thought we would do, because I thought it would be an interesting idea, is go through some interesting little pirate legends. Just because, myth and narrative is an important thing. That's what we've been talking about at the beginning of the episode here. So I thought we could go through some of these and, just talk about them. And if it's a really bad segment, then we will break out the Interview with a Wizard book by Peter Carroll and just, take pop shots at him. That's what we usually do when segments don't work.
That's true. That's true.
What, you take pop shots at Peter Carroll?
Yeah.
Okay, we have an ongoing. Well, I say ongoing segment. We haven't done it in.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been months and months and months. But we had a thing where there's a book called Interview with a Wizard, which is a compilation of about 5 different interviews that Peter Carroll did with this person over email. And we would just find random questions. And that's the thing, is that it's not so much a conversational interview. It's more of I pose a question and then Peter Carroll typed out a response. So we would just find individual questions and it's like, all right, well, here's what the question was. Here was Carroll's response. And then we would give our answer to the question and we would we'd probably mess around. We'd mess around a little bit of why we thought Peter Carroll was wrong. But the problem with that is that more often than not, we actually ended up agreeing with him. So we were just like, damn it, Pete. Yeah, that's a good point. Fine. Anyway, that was a segment that we used to close out the show a couple different times. But
So you didn't find anything particular to pirates that was like.
But
outside
I'd
of-
imagine that a lot of pirates were just either, they were whatever religion they were before they were a pirate.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's the shame, is that there weren't pirate cults roaming around.
What about the sun god Nika?
Are you you've been trying to bring up One Piece this entire time? I get it.
We're talking about pirates. Come on now.
Okay, I mean, look, here's the problem.
Maybe some sea goddesses, sea entities, or something like
The ocean as a personified instance, right? That's a thing.
Well, that's interesting too, because we've always. Caribbean did Calypso.
Calypso, yeah.
Although there's always this.
Also put it in with witchcraft, so she was also like a sea witch in a way.
Oh, there's the spider god. I think his name is
Anansi?
Is it Haiti?
Haiti?
Yeah. What's his name?
Anansi?
Anansi was a god of South African or North African. I can't remember.
I believe West African, actually, but I could
So
be
neither
I
of what
could
I
be
said.
wrong.
You poor gravity well motherfucker, sitting there looking at the cardinal directions.
What about Anansi? How does Anansi relate to this? Now I'm really curious.
The colonists that took slaves,
but that's you're talking about because that's also the ocean. That's also the origins of Santeria and voodoo. It's just diaspora African beliefs, and then they become slightly syncretized with the Catholic Church and stuff like that. Never mind. All right. Have you found any interesting pirate legends that you are worth discussing?
This first one is actually a list of myths, and not myth as in the mythic structure, but like myth as in that's just a myth. So I figured we'd point these out and start and kind of compare a few things real quick. Have any of you guys heard of the Black Spot? It's apparently a big thing that was created by Stevenson.
It's in Treasure Island.
Yeah. Did you know that was people actually believed that? Like that got turned into like historical, like people thought that was an actual historical thing just from that book.
It's kind of awesome.
Like stuff like that's silly, but I always really like the idea of fiction's ability to bleed over into reality.
Yes.
That to me that's always fun. That to me that's magic. That is part of the heart of magic. The stories we tell bleed into the world and become it's very Puss in Boots, where the lie becomes the truth.
That's what I'm banking on also with my
the
project,
ORMEC,
right? Like inviting people to a pirate expedition. So it's like an expedition into the realm of your mind, your imagination. You're gonna do stuff in the context of your monastic practice, but it's gonna bleed out into your everyday reality.
Absolutely, and that's to me that's I always talk about, it's like you can have all kinds of kooky spiritual magical experiences, but if they don't integrate into your life in a meaningful way, it's masturbation. You know what I mean?
No, because masturbation can be more useful than that.
What? Why? Go to the
Well.
next one.
Yes, and
Oh God. All these things are terrible. There's nothing good. There's not a good bit in here about pirates. All the things that we take for granted about pirates are myths, like buried treasure. Like that's not a thing, obviously. Pirate governments supposedly are not a thing, which is an interesting take on the structure. I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? There's not like an order. I obviously crews have to have some sort of governments, but I guess it's saying that like the pirate orders are not a thing, but that's also not true because you could be a damn privateer. So there's actually you've been entrenched with government for in some capacity.
But
as
wasn't
a
there
pirate.
like a sort of a pirate constitution around Blackbeard? Like there were like at least some value tenants or kind of like codes
Yeah.
that were laid down that everybody like the social contract of piracy in a way.
right, like kind of the unspoken rules of.
There we go. Almost every pirate ship had a set of articles that all new pirates had to agree to. It clearly set out how the loot would be divided and who had to do what and what was expected. So, okay, there we go. I mean, it sounds more interesting than it is. It's probably just like you get this percentage of the loot and you have to wash the deck.
Well, and it's like you said, there were outside of what we would call civilized society, pirates were organizing themselves in ways that made sense to them as a collective, where it's like, all right, you get your leg lopped off, or it goes gangrene on you. You get this amount of money, or if we have a good haul, you're going to get this percentage, and nobody can make you do anything that you don't want to do. You just got you're here voluntarily. But then also when the bullets start flying, everybody needs to shut up and listen to this guy because this is we don't want to get killed. Like that's governance, right? That's deciding how you're going to function collectively.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the gist on C4. We all need to figure out also in our temporous autonomous zones and other permanent autonomous zones as well, right? Like if we're going to opt out from the mainstream social contract, what are the rules of engagement we're willing to put down like as a minimum to give everybody most autonomy and self-regency, but still function as a collective?
The thing, and this is actually something that the pirates had to deal with too, now that I think about it, where it's because we've always talked about, like, in America, at least, I imagine most places, it's like, if you were to go to try to live off the grid in the woods, you would, in all likelihood, if somebody found you, you would get arrested, They literally institute certain laws that keep you from just dropping everything and going off and doing your own thing. They want you to be hooked into the grid. They want you paying their tax. They want you paying the taxes that they levy on you and stuff like that. So they don't really take kindly to people trying to break away and do their own thing, especially because we have this idea that certain people own land, which is, to this day, I still think is a weird concept. But you'll notice pirates, it's the same way, is that pirates, by willfully choosing to live outside of society, they make themselves a target. Pretty much every pirate, anytime that a certain port becomes like the pirate port, eventually there's going to be some kind of siege that is going to drive them all out because these are, by their nature, outlaws,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's interesting that to become liberated, to attempt to seek that autonomy, the implements of the control mechanism are going to actively seek to destroy you. They want you to go back into the fold.
Bunch of losers.
I mean, that's a great way of I mean, like, yeah, it's I agree.
And
but
that's where like the whole dopamine and limbic system hijacking comes into place as well.
Ooh, yeah. All right, hold on. Let me talk to my esteemed colleague for just a second. You got anything good or no?
No, dude. Like I'm so disappointed by this list. I thought I saw like what looked like promising headlines, like, all right, I'll finish reading through this later. And now I'm doing it, and it's just crap. It's just absolute garbage after absolute garbage. It's very sad.
You don't have a story about like a pirate who did something wild, you know? You ain't got like and then he burned down.
You know what the unfortunate tale of most pirates is that
they got killed?
Well, no, most of them actually retire because you get old enough that you can't be on a ship all the goddamn time. And you just, or you die of gangrene and, you
get scurvy.
No one likes you. Yeah.
Or you find the One Piece and you become the king of the pirates.
Has it happened yet?
Nobody here
There's
has
like a
seen
billion
One
episodes
Piece,
of
but
that
It's about
show.
to be done. It's about to be done. We already know who's going to win.
Do we want to go find a wizard question?
Here, I'll see if I can pull it up.
There's a walking, talking skeleton, guys, and you're just walking right past it. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's a pervert.
We have no idea what you're talking about. Nobody here but you has seen One Piece, man. Oh, hey, and this is question 230. I think, and I've seen some videos of Mavis, so perhaps Mavis will have an interesting response to this one. What sort of ritual dancing do you have experience in and or prefer? And Carroll's response was, I prefer to use dance for self-expression and gnosis rather than for communication or entertainment or social purposes. The Massive Chaos ritual, which I devised and frequently participate in, calls for a wild circle dance, but participants do this without reference to others, apart from avoiding collision. Dervish-style whirling has often proved a useful technique for enchantment and divination, particularly if you can hold a sigil or spell in the palm of your left hand as a focus for balance and concentration while spinning wildly. Anybody got any thoughts on dance as a magical technique? Because Carroll seems to think it's pretty decent.
Super underrated.
Looking at it from the 8-circuit brain model, it's dancing is a form of neurosomatic activation. So moving the body to a beat, or also in sync with other nervous systems moving to the same beat. Like, for example, on the raving dance floor with a lot of bass, there can be a kind of like a synchronization of the nervous systems that then brings the turn on more into this like more ecstatic spaces as well. So decent noses.
It's a way of attuning to other people as well, and that sort of by synchronizing with that person, you can get on that same wavelength. That's why dancing can often become very romantic with people, or sometimes dancing as a way of broadcasting that it's like, hey, I'm interested in you. Why don't you come dance with me? That sort of thing. So on a baseline there,
Dating games on the dance floor.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that, and then
and again, like being in like the kind of like rave and techno kind of or EDM type scene. Again, you've been at a show before and just like shit's pounding and the entire crowd is moving with you. You're all in the same wavelength. Think about it. Like, where else could you ever be in a situation where you're slammed into like a tiny space with like hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's just kind of accepted that the way you get around is by shoving people out of the way? Like, hardly anyone gets pissed at you. It's just like, they're like, oh yeah, hey, I'm bopping up in here in time. And as long as you keep with the rhythm while you're going through the crowd, people start seeing, they start synchronizing because they like, oh, I see the little bit of the movement in front of me. That means someone else is moving back. You do that shit at the grocery store, people freak the fuck out.
Start calling you names. Start being weird with you.
Because there's no beat. It's because they play easy listening music at the grocery store.
And then there's the people on the dance floors that are also kind of like opening portals while they're dancing, like moving their energies around.
Right, yeah. I think doing the voodoo thing has helped my relation to dance and magic. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't dance a whole lot. It's just not something that's in my purview, but I've been listening to a lot of Haitian rhythms and like the banda drum specifically because it's related to various aspects of voodoo, and that shit'll get you moving.
I think I'll relate it back to the body keeps the score thing, but I've always been like this really. Very often these sort of exalted states that we're trying to tap into that we think Gnostics would always talk about like the material being bad, the flesh being bad, but really it seems like the human apparatus that you have is the best vehicle to divinity that you've got,
Yes.
And so if you can, by doing things with the body, by working with it, and it's particularly in something like dance where you can lose yourself, it's you're gonna find it's all right there. It's like, oh, that's the opener for me. And I've already said, like, what I actually tell people is that what I lack in skill, I make up for in passion when it comes to dancing. Like, so I'm not always pretty, but I'm definitely feeling it.
And I think it's also a very primal way to connect to the instinct, like connect to the force of life in a way. Like it's like connecting to your body, really sensing yourself in your body and tuning into the rhythm of aliveness that becomes available through that body movement.
Absolutely.
In dance, if you look
Right.
is in the present moment of enjoying the body movement, right?
Right.
That there's just like a very immediate connection to being alive and to the all the magic that can be unlocked in just like this present aliveness.
I've got another question from this book that I think actually relates back to things we were talking about earlier. Well, I don't think it does. It does. It's question 237. How about Timothy Leary's idea that he was being sent messages or tuning into messages from another star system? So great. We've got talking to aliens, and we've got Timothy Leary's 8 circuit model sort of thing. Peter Carroll's response was, that sounds like an excellent magical technique so long as you check the messages for sense, reason, and sanity. I think those are overrated sometimes, but that's just me. The experimental belief that your own subconscious, the collective unconscious, extraterrestrial intelligence, or some future state of yourself might know something that you don't and might be willing to tell you can yield results. Many of those who had an inspired idea speak of it as seeming coming from outside of their conscious mind. Magicians deliberately go looking outside rather than waiting for something to fall in. I'm kind of down with that. Yeah, that interpretation is pretty useful. I think the bigger problem that I have is always trying to pin down where something comes from. But in the chaos magic sense of it, it doesn't really. It's like, does it matter if it's objectively? Yeah.
Does anything matter, man?
Yeah, I mean, for real, it's like it's
as long as it makes sense to you, right? And
right.
As long as it creates some coherence in your experience, just like roll with it. Like delirationem tuam vive, baby. Live your own madness.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day because I had an experience that kind of petered out. I won't even go to the details of it, but it just got me thinking about like reading Aleister Crowley's various diaries and how many weird little spiritual entities and things like that he speaks to that kind of just never show up again. Thinking about all the various times I've had quote unquote mystical, magical experiences, stuff that we could say is like in the the higher circuit areas, and just nothing came of it. It just, I had the experience, but I wasn't able, like I said, it didn't bring any coherence. It was just kind of a weird little thing that happened. I think that's always the goal as being a magician, right? Is being able to have those sorts of experiences. And like co-host said earlier, being able to actually integrate them and bring some kind of coherence into them and have it affect how you view the world and how you interact with it, as opposed to, I got abducted by a UFO and had a real bad time.
All I got are these stupid gold shoes.
No, if I got some shoes out of it, I'd be pretty into
them,
it.
it's like
That's why Mariana's gone so quiet over the last segment, because it's like, I'm sorry, I'm still just staring at the
entranced
shoes.
in the shoes.
I gotta get me a pair.
Maybe it's not a Trump tee, it's a trance team.
There you go. Bazinga.
Oh Lord. Okay. Do we want to do one more question for this, or do we want to cap it off here?
They're like really, it's a really good questions, good answers that Peter Carroll still has around.
Okay. I've got one more, and because again, it's gonna hit the hallmarks of what we've been doing this episode. The question is 240, and it's, I feel like Leary's 8 circuit model of consciousness was aimed at evolving self-awareness in particular. Do you think it's theoretically possible? And oh boy.
Ooh.
This is Carroll's response. Oh man, you guys are not going to like this. The 8 circuit model developed by Leary and expanded upon by Wilson appears as a basically transcendental and somewhat moralistic scheme. It certainly does not map well onto what little we know about neuropsychology. Like most schemes for classifying what the mind can or should do, it looks superficially convincing, but only because the mind will tend to provide some confirmation of any scheme projected onto it. Hence, we have such a plethora of schools of thought. I'm not done. Psychological theories seem to work rather like religions. They invite you to internalize them for their apparent descriptive power, but they have very little predictive power concerning those who have not internalized them. A few people have attempted to draw parallels between the Leary Wilson 8-circuit model and the 8-rayed Star of Chaos.
Ooh, shots fired.
Well,
But no, I'm not done. But they missed the point. The mind star has an unlimited number of rays. Humans can develop the most extraordinary range of ideas and behaviors. The 8 rays of the Chaos Star can just show 8 of the big and important things you can do with your mind and your life, and remind you not to neglect any of them. I think, as usual, Carroll's a dick.
It was like,
Well, I
bro,
have a.
go ahead.
I have a curious note on that, actually, because I just submitted an essay on the 8 circuits and the 8 colors of magic for a Peter Carroll curated anthology on chaos magic, and he took the essay in. So
So when I tell you about it, you think it's cool, but
Oh, so when you
But when
want
you're on
some-
your- when
when
you're
you
just
want something
emailing
to
your little
publish, but when
friends.
you want to talk shit, you go. Okay, I personally think that
don't worry, we will one day
I-
have Peter Carroll on the show, and we will be sure to
Well,
call him out about this.
Well, no, the more important thing is we have Carroll on here. I'm going to explain that I tell everyone that he's my biological father.
Yeah, but
and
that's
see his
true.
response. Yeah, it's true. He needs to. I need that child support payments back. What I think really is that the notion of psychological models not having any sort of predictive power, and that the idea is like, oh, well, if you believe in them, yeah, they work. You know, what the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. I understand that to an extent, but I feel like that isn't a fair. I feel like Carroll isn't really being fair to because there's even psychological models that I don't necessarily agree with, that I can tell the lines of logic that they were that were used to reach the conclusions of. And I think that, like, to just say, oh, this is just another example of like faith-based wishy-washiness that only the people that buy into it believe, actually it has any power over. I just don't feel like that's a fair assessment.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a tool.
Yeah. And the idea that, like,
that was my thought when he mentioned that, like, well, the star, the mind star has infinite rays. I'm like, well, yeah, you have 8 circuits, but it's like, again, it's like Kabbalah. It's like the tree of life. You can fit an infinite number of experiences into this. That's the point of having a tool like this. The fact is the tool is inexhaustible because it's just a schema that can be reinterpreted and reorganized the entire time.
And, the map is not the territory, but again, maps can be useful. So
you're going to go die in the desert, Pete.
And 8 quadrants work very well as a navigational compass as well. So, I mean, you can
That's true,
charter your experience into the different directions of it. I think it's still like a decent, valuable tool if you are aware that the map is not not the territory, and you're aware that you can't like use a different map and you'll have a different experience of the territory, right? The map you use will impact the experience of the territory.
Right. I think Carroll's being a fuddy-duddy again. Like, I think he just being curmudgeon-y to be curmudgeon-y, and he like, oh, it's the 8 rays of chaos and the 8 circuit model. You know what it is? It's probably he's tired of other people telling him that. Like, oh yeah, is the 8 rays of the chaos star, is that like because of the 8 circuit? And he's like, no, it's a totally different thing. I didn't steal anything from Wilson. I stole this from Michael Moorcock. But that's what it is that he's just so tired of those comparisons, and he's probably a little fed up with the amount of bleed over that people that really like Discordianism and the Wilsons and all the Robert Anton Wilson stuff, and then finding chaos magic. He's tired of all of the amount of people that were like bleeding over, and he's like, let me just throw a little shade. Let me just throw a teensy bit.
Little comment about how it doesn't seem to map to anything that we understand about neuroscience on there. It makes me laugh just because everything I've ever read about neuroscience has just further proven to me as a Heideggerian that psychological models can't actually encompass what's going on in the nervous system because they're two different things. His comment about like there being like religions did remind me of a study I read a while back. It was I'll find it if I can, but it was about how Freudian talk therapy, just your typical analysis, was just as effective as cognitive behavioral therapy and just as effective as like medication. So apparently, just go to therapy. One of them will work.
Yeah, all of them will do something. Yep. Okay, on that hater of a note, I think maybe we get ready to close this out.
Yeah, let's get this over with. So we have our wonderful palate cleanser where we get to ask, how goes the work? Mariana, how goes the work?
The work right now is lagging, but I'm about to start to commit again to the work more thoroughly in about 2 weeks when I start my monastic expedition. But the last couple of weeks, it's been more about resting and creative output, some sigils here and there that I did over the New Year's transition. Some of them I've activated, some of them not. But in terms of daily practice, not much right now. Taking more of a flowing how it goes and then going back to structure. Crew.
I mean, rest is an underrated aspect of it. You just can't be firing on all cylinders at all times. Like you said, you need time to let your body and your nervous system get back to a baseline anyway.
Yeah.
What about you, Kennedy? Anything going on?
No, well, we're still doing Minnesota voodoo over here.
All day, every day, baby.
I got to take part in the divine liturgy of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So that was really cool.
Oh, that does sound fascinating.
Yeah. It's not that different from regular like Russian Orthodox or other Eastern Orthodox type people, but it was very cool because it's in what was the language? It's Gaze? Like Geze, I think is what it is.
All right. So that was
G-Easy.
Young Jeezy did this.
Oh
with
no,
you
it's
guys?
how do you say this?
Oh, it wouldn't
Gaze?
be.
It wouldn't be an episode if Kennedy wasn't mispronouncing shit. It's GE''EZ. It was just cool to take part in that, and it was like 3 hours, which was very interesting because I have not gone to like a 3-hour mass in a very long time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was cool, and it was all a con because I was sitting there worshiping Gede, who is the Christ upon the cross, and they're like Jesus, and I'm like, you can't fool me. I know that's Gede.
There's something to be said about doing certain religious or spiritual observances, but looking at them as like, well, I'm not actually doing it for this specific entity or idea. I'm doing this for something else that fits within this archetype.
Well, and it's something that I feel like, especially, I know Mariana talked about her, internalized Christian trauma at point. I think there's just something very liberatory about taking this monopolizing spiritual model that, has dominated not only the Western world as a culture, but dominated a lot of our own personal lives. I mean, again, I grew up in the Catholic Church and I grew up in the South too. So like, again, Jesus was fucking everywhere and, not always in a good way. So it was nice to be able to take part in one of those kind of rituals and be like, yeah, no, this is for my guy. You can sit there and have your bullshit Ethiopian Jesus all you want. This is for gay day.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad that's going for you.
What about you?
I mean, I'll say that I've in the same sort of rest idea. I've just taken a hard look at how I've been dealing with certain things in my day to day, and I've decided to redouble a lot of efforts into that sort of neo-Reichian bodywork stuff that I normally do, because that's always been my go-to for. It's been my preparation for when I do meditation. It's been my preparation when I do magic, but also just using it as a tool throughout my day as a means of breaking up certain patterns of tension that are related, because the bodily tensions are related to psychological tension. So trying to break those up in ways throughout my day so that I don't constantly I don't behave quite as high strung as I would, because I know, and it's one of those where I notice when I start neglecting it because I do get stressed more easily and other. And now, granted, sometimes you can be doing everything right, and life will just foist certain stressors and challenges on you, and you've just got to deal the best you can. But I've just taken it upon myself to try to get down with my body a little bit more and get recentered and do a lot more focused on that. And it's helped a lot. And what's good about that is that when you don't expend so much of your mental and physical energy because you're in a state of high alert all the time, you have more energy to do like the fun stuff, like waving around a wand and trying to get the spider gods to talk to you.
Getting on the pirate ship and exploring the brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Arr.
And it all starts with setting the anchors of safety in your own body. Yes.
Very true. Very
Hell
true.
yeah.
I need some of that. I've been very stressed lately. Me and co-host got into a big fight before this.
Yeah, like we were literally arguing before this episode started.
Yep.
But that's
well, you know what?
When you've known each other.
The podcast is part of our practice of grounding ourselves in our bodies and in our relationships to others. Because whenever we do this, we get to talk to cool people like Mariana.
Yeah.
We get to hang out with our buddy G, and you and me get to sit there and look at each other and go like, man, we did a thing.
Well, we can be mad we're mad at each other, and then we start recording, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, never mind.
You're too funny for me to stay mad at you forever.
Well, I mean, it's just.
Are you in the same physical space?
Now we are.
I don't like how you said that at the same time. That was weird.
Oh.
Now we are one.
Yep. Over
one
here,
Borg unit together.
It's for a while we were doing it in different places. I was in Detroit and he was over in Chicago, the Windy City. But we've redoubled our efforts and we are now both in the Golganuza compound full time.
Yep.
Good stuff.
CMN's Golganuza compound.
Yep.
Semen's getting places.
Yep.
Semen's getting places.
I'm putting semen everywhere, guys.
And with that,
this has been Chaos Magic News.
So you don't know how my work's going?
Oh, well, okay, fine. Gary,
that's cool.
Gary, how's
They're
your work?
all on Egghead Island right now, right? And there's this guy.
You're talking about One Piece. No, okay. With that said,
this has been Chaos Magic News, the only podcast that is not talking about One Piece, even though it's a pirate episode.
As always, if you too would like to delve deep into the oceans of consciousness and dig up the buried treasure of bright gold Trump sneakers, you can find more at chaosmagicnews.com, where we'll have episode links to the pod, to our exciting interview series, the occasional article, and just about everything you could ask from us. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we post dank memes and just sort of shit posts to try to get you to pay attention to the episodes to keep the algorithm happy. We also have a Patreon now where for $5 a month, you can get access to bonus episodes. We're doing about 2 a month still. That might go up a little more as we get a better feel for stuff.
If you guys give us more money, we'll do more of them. What are you talking about? Y'all want 3 episodes? Get us to 100 patrons.
Jesus Christ. You're dropping, the mask is slipping.
I'm just saying that if you
the mask
if
is
you
slipping.
pay $5 for the Patreon, right, you not only get all the backlog of episodes we've done, you get 2 bonus episodes a month, you support the objectively best occult podcast on the net, and you will get personally initiated into the Minnesota Voodoo. It's not quite as fun as piracy, but it's still fun. It's interesting.
All right. Captain Mavis, where can people find you?
Chaossurfing.rocks.
You're also on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Instagram.
Okay.
I have a Telegram channel that's just like t.me/chaossurfing with a big S in the middle.
Right on.
Nice.
We need to get on Telegram.
So that's like where I also keep in touch. And I have a Discord server, but that I keep like for the people that have taken the journey, or like about taking journeys, like crews and former crews.
Oh, okay. So,
Right, like kind of in the group of.
well,
yeah.
don't worry, listeners, because the Chaos Magic News Discord is open to whoever. So come on in.
Yeah,
wipe
you don't
your
even have to
feet.
listen to the podcast, apparently.
Yeah.
What a mean thing. You're like, so Mavis, where can we find you? Oh yeah, that's interesting and all, but go check out our Discord.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I meant it as like what it was that I forgot we had a Discord. It's like, oh shit, I should plug that real quick.
Stop plugging the Discord. We got enough people in there. So we've got enough. I like the ones we have now.
No. You always need new faces. Well,
No. We have to do one more thing. Because you blew through the Patreon segment.
oh right.
And we made the stupid promise. Who the fuck's idea was this? This is
It
the
was
dumbest
yours.
thing.
It was your idea.
This is all the lovely people that help bring you the show twice a month. Thank you, Obsplek. Thank you, Andrea WK. Thank you, Pope Loki Sater, the 23rd LLC. Thank you, Local. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Cios93. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Coco. Thank you, Curse T. Thank you, Fyodor. Thank you, Acolyte 1 of the Ice Magic Meditation Society. And thank you, Venus Christ. Y'all are wonderful, and we couldn't do it without you.
Wait. I think
definitely could.
I think we just got a new person too.
Oh, God. Who is it?
I think their name was just CC though. So
Okay, well, thank you, CC. You the best.
yep. All you lovely people, I'm gonna give all you a kiss on the forehead. Thank you very much for supporting us.
Out of all of you
All right.
lovely people, one of you is my favorite.
Mariana, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
this is fantastic.
Thank you.
I always get a little antsy when you have guests on, but I think this turned out pretty well.
And with that, Mariana, would you like the last word?
Choyo Fakwen.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh yeah. All right. Thank you for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What was it that you just said, Mavis? Did you conjure something? Are we fucked up now?
You are.
The Choyo Fakwe is like Orano Barbaric for do the great work.
Oh, that's awesome. How do you say it?
Choyo Fakwe.
Choyo fuckware?
Mm-hmm.
Choyo fuckware, motherfuckers. Let's do it.